almost at a stage where we're about to unbox this M18 cordless router, and I can't wait to get in about it. But first, I'd like to take a minute to show some appreciation to Milwaukee's new M18 red lithium Forge batteries. Now these batteries are Milwaukee's highest performance battery. They put out the same output as the 12 amp battery, but as you can see the size difference, this is much smaller, much more compact, lighter. Now the advantages of that is you're getting the same power, but if you're working above your head all day, for example with a hammer drill, you're going to feel the difference. And that's just one example. There's many examples of having a lighter tool with the same output of power. Now these batteries also are the fastest charging batteries with the Milwaukee fast charger. These can be fully charged in 25 minutes, so that's going to maximise your time on site. And also within 10 minutes they'll be at 80% and they'll still be able to put out the same power. It's not like it's only if it's half charged you're going to get some amount of power. It's going to put out the same amount of power. So really pleased with these. These are compatible with all Milwaukee tools, M18 tools. So M18 Fuel or M18 tools is compatible. So don't worry, it's not a new battery range. You don't have to go out and buy new tools to use these. You can buy them and stick them in your tools. So lots of love for these. I've really enjoyed using them. The power they put out is great and I'm really happy with them. So let's get into the reason why they're all here. The main event, time to unbox this bad boy. Now how many of you actually watched the first part of the video? How many just skipped to this bit? Let me know. So this M18 router, cordless router I should say. Now the benefits of having a cordless router are going to be catastrophic in the construction industry. It's going to completely change the game. The portability is going to be one of the main factors for me. A lot of the work that we do is residential work, and a lot of time we're working in domestic properties, and we aren't able to have a setting like this where we can cut in someone's living room. We've got to usually cut outside. Now that means running extension cords, and sometimes in Glasgow and cities like we live in, you're not always going to be able to get parked outside, so you're not going to have your cutting station set up. So the portability of having a cordless half-inch router is definitely going to change the game, and I can think of many scenarios where that might be beneficial. You might work on a new build construction site and you won't be allowed to have a 240 volt in the house, the site that you're working on, so you would need to carry about a 110 transformer, and that is just a ball ache in itself, so you don't really want to be doing that. So having a cordless router is definitely going to change the game. Or if you work in a factory and you're going about the factory and you have to move from different parts with your manufacturing, it's definitely going to change it up for you having cordless, so there's lots of benefits of it. Packaging itself is nice bright red Milwaukee. You will certainly not miss it on the shelf. On the top, on the front of the box, it shows you what you're getting inside. Also, you've got your model number down here, and you're getting the plunge base and the router itself with a different type of base. Now, let's get it opened up, and we'll have a wee look at the box it comes in. So, the box it comes in itself. So the box it comes in itself is a pack-out box. The pack-out, basically, if you don't know what it is Milwaukee's tool storage solution system. Basically, if you can imagine it, Milwaukee have probably got it. It comes from drawers, boxes, holders, cups, screw organisers, whatever you can think of, Milwaukee have probably got it. Basically, all the boxes kind of clip together. You can have it on trolleys, dollies, anything you can imagine. They have, like I said, they have got it. So the fact that this tool comes with a pack-out box is absolutely fantastic. Any tool that comes with a pack-out box is always a bonus. And not only that, it's the large one. So let's have it open and we'll have a wee look inside. Inside, we've got the instructions first. We'll set them aside and we'll pretend like we're going to read them. No, I probably will read them. So, a couple of wee accessories. We've got your dust extraction ports, you've got your fences as standard that you would get, and you have a small box. We'll have a wee look what's inside this. Oh, right, so inside this wee small cardboard box you're getting your spanners, and that is good for changing the cutters that you're going to be using with the tool and different maintenance of the tool. So, like I said, you're also getting a vacuum accessory, so that's going to attach to your vacuum, again for dust extraction, and that will be compatible with this component. And let's have a wee look what else we've got. So, in the box itself, I'm going to do some close-up shots. In the box itself, you've got a foam insert inside the box. Now that's really good in itself for transportation. Means nothing's going to get damaged. It's not. These boxes are good, but it means that nothing's going to be flying about in the box. If you're driving around or if you're carrying the box about site, your tool's going to be safe. And the router's tools can be quite specific, so you want to have them fine-tuned. If you've got a depth set or something like that and you're moving from plot to plot on a site, you know that your tool's going to be fine and safe because it's got the foam insert. So first up, we've got the plunge base itself. Now this is the plunge base that we'll probably be using most, as commonly when we using a 1/2 inch router, we're usually doing kitchen worktops, and sometimes we use it for doors if we've got a jig set up, and sometimes we'll use it for MDF construction. Usually we do it under stair storage, things like that. So this is the base that we'll most likely use, but I've not used the other base, but this is the one that I think and I'm assuming that we will use most. Now with this base, you're getting a couple of face plates. So basically these attach to the bottom of the tool, and I'm going to go into this in a wee bit more detail a wee bit later on in the video. So this is a really important part for us that we are going to have to use on probably on the daily when we're using this tool. So, wee component I forgot about, that is goes with the fence, and that is for, like I said, setting up your guide rail and that. So here's the tool itself. It comes with the base with the handle, the strap handle. Now that is going to be definitely a really good thing to have and a really good thing to use. I can imagine myself using it along a nice big piece of timber, a big bit of MDF that we're going to put a nice bull nose on. It's going to be nice and comfortable to use in my hand. I'm left-handed, so it kind of suits me, but I suppose if you're right-handed, it doesn't matter what hand you're using it in, so you've got that strap there. But if you're not a fan of the strap, you do have what I call Shrek's ears. So these wee components here you've got, and these are your standard handles that you would get if you're routering. If you've got an apprentice or whatever that wants to feel more comfortable and want to have two hands on the tool, you've got that there with the tool. So on the tool itself, hold on, I'm going to take the base off this. It's nice and tight. Right, we'll just set that aside. So that's the other alternative base that you get opposed to the plunge base. So the tool itself, you've got your depth adjustment here, now that will be used for both plunge base and the other base with the other handle. On the back, you've got your 5-speed switch. So if you're wanting to slow down the blade, 6-speed, I was corrected there. So 6-speed split switch, Milwaukee fuel brushless on this side, and you've also got your on-off switch here. So that is the tool itself, and let's have a look. I'll see if I missed any parts in the box. There's a couple of wee bits here. So other parts that we've got in the box here are, we have got, I think is the last thing in the box, we've got different collets. Now this is good because if you have already got 1/4 inch router cutters, then you can use them with this router, so you don't have to go out and buy all new bits. So if you've already got and you're wanting to upgrade to the 1/2 inch, it doesn't really matter because you can change the collets and you can use your 1/4 inch router bits as well. So that's all the components there that you get with the tool. So let's get into what we're going to be using this router for today. So today we're going to be using the tool itself, and the base that we're going to be using is we're going to be using the plunge base. And the reason for that is because we're doing compact laminate worktops, as you've seen already. Now, so the plunge base itself comes with your depth adjustment here on the side. So that's just for moving it up and down. Your standard 3 kind of stop gauges here on the bottom. Now, one of the things that I've noticed from using other routers and using this one doesn't have the wee screws. It's literally just 3 solid stops. Now that is good because sometimes the wee screws can move with the vibration of the tool, and I've lost countless other ones on my other router that I have got. So it's actually got a couple of different stops, not just 3, 4 or 5 different stops there, so you can set that with your depth guide if you're going to be for example, going for a worktop in 3 or 4 passes. So we're going to attach the tool to the base itself, so we'll figure out how we do that. So on the back, you have a clip here. I'm assuming you open that, and that's going to open up the tool, and then the tool should just slot right inside. Like that, voila! I actually figured that out. So we're going to lock that over. Oh, you lift up a bit. No, you lock that over and it's quite tight. Pause. A lot of the time when we're doing worktops, we have to use a worktop jig. Now, this is the trend one. Again, I'll put the link in the description below for the trend products that I'm using in this. But this is the trend one, and we use this for doing our mason miter with worktops, and we use it for cutting out the bolts, etc. when we're doing worktops. So with many jigs, whether that be a worktop jig, a door jig for your hinges and faceplates, or a stair jig, you need a bush guide. Now basically what a bush guide is, it's a wee part that goes on the bottom of the tool and it allows the router to guide along your jig. Now that means it won't cut through your jig, it will just stick to what is marked out on the product, the jig product. So one of my concerns, well not my concerns, one thing that I didn't know about with the Milwaukee cordless router is you can actually get compatible bush guides that go with it. Now I've just not seen anyone do it, and it's because it is a new tool, so I'm going to show you today how I figured out how I got a bush guide on it. So when we were at the Milwaukee convention in Sweden a couple of weeks ago, the product manager had showed us bush guides that you could get. Now these are them here. They're basically not your typical bush guides that you screw on to the bottom of the router. They're basically like a twist on, twist off. Now this is a 16mm bush guide, and basically this can be used, I know a lot of hinge jigs and face jigs for doors use this one. So it basically just two components, male and female, and it goes onto this faceplate I was talking about earlier. So basically this faceplate, it goes into that component like that in the wee centre bit, and then that bit just basically screws on the back, and that's you got a 16mm bush guide on your tool. Now all you need to do is change the faceplate of the bottom on the jig. There's a couple of screws, 3 screws in the bottom of it, and basically put that one on, and that's what we're going to do next. However, we are not using the 16mm bush guide, so I'm going to take this back off and I'm going to show you the bush guide that we're going to be using. I'm going to set this aside. So I just ordered these bush guides online. This is a 30mm one, and this is the one that we typically use with worktop jigs. So if you're a kitchen fitter, you'll know all about these. These go with all your routers, and it basically just goes onto this. So I'm going to open this packaging, put it on this, and put this on the bottom of the router before we get started. Don't know why they make packaging like this like so difficult. Like I feel like sometimes packaging that you can't get into is more dangerous than the tool itself sometimes. Oh, there we go. Right, so this is a 30mm bush guide, and I'm going to attach it to the bottom clear faceplate, and then we'll attach that to the router. So that basically just screws off like that. Whoop! That DJ there spinning the decks. So that basically goes through like that, and that's going to sit flush, and it's going to go around your jig. You put the male part on the back, tighten it up. I don't know if I need to tighten this up with a spanner, if hand tight will be good enough. I think hand tight might just be good enough. Don't want to over tighten it. Get it back off. Yep, so that's it, and there's no wiggle room there, so that's pretty much solid. You're not going to get movement in your jigs or anything like that. That's there, good to go. So we'll take the plate off the bottom. So I had a wee look at the screws themselves. If you're going to be changing them, it's not your standard Phillips screw, it's a T25 bit you're going to need. So that's the bit there that you will need, and that basically just whip off the screws, and then we're good to go. So set them aside, don't lose them, because you need them. Set that aside. Now this I'll put back in the box because we probably won't use that just for the type of work that we do. I'm just going to make sure that's tight. Yep, I'm happy with that. That's not going anywhere. We'll put this on the bottom. See if the router stands like that. Just lining up the screw holes. And again we'll put the screws back in. Now I don't recommend using an impact driver if you're doing things like this. Probably better to use a screwdriver if you're doing anything like this with any product. But if you are using an impact driver like I am, make sure you've got it on the low setting. You don't want to thread your screws and then that's them damaged or you damage the tool. So nice and light, nice and easy. And what I like to do is make sure I got all the screws in, all the screws started before tightening them up fully. So I'll put all 3 in, and then that just helps with alignment, helps when you're getting it on, instead of tightening one and then noticing it's misaligned down the line. That's us there. Now all we need to do now is put a cutter in it. So the cutter we're going to be using, oh this is on the bush guide now so it's going to balance there. So the cutter we're going to be using is going to be a 6mm double flute straight cutter. I don't know if the camera can see it, but that's what we're going to be using to cut out our bolts for the worktops, and we're also going to be using a biscuit cutter. So that's the 2 parts that we're going to be using in today's application. So we're going to get them in the tool, and again the spanners themselves for loosening the collet comes with the tool. There's a button here on the side, there's a red button. Basically what you do is you push that in and you turn with the tool that comes with it. You turn your collet and that will basically find a stop, and then once you found the stop you should be able to take it off. One thing you'll find with routers is you loosen it and it will go tight again. That's basically just a safety feature. It's quite common on routers. and then you can take it right off. Now I don't think you need to take it right off to get your cutter in, so we're just going to pop it in. So we're going to be using the 6mm straight cutter first. I'm going to get tidied up now, I'm going to get everything squared away, we're going to get the worktops out, and we're going to get it set up with the jig, and then we're going to get cutting. So let's go. Okay, so that's us finishing routing out all the recess bolts, and the reason why we did that is for these wee bolts here. They basically go under the worktop, and you tighten one end here with a wee torque bit, and it will spin round, and then it will pull the worktops in tight together. Now that how pulls them tight this way. Now what we need to do is we need to make sure that they're going to be sitting flush, and in order to do that, so there's no bump in the worktop, we're going to have to use a biscuit. And I thought this was a joke when I first started, but this is a biscuit, so we're going to be using that. In order to do that, we need to use a router cutter, which is a biscuit cutter, sorry. So we're going to be using the biscuit cutter, and the biscuit cutter is going to go into the router. Now this is a good point I wanted to highlight here, and the pros of having two bases. Now as you know, I've got this one set up with a bush guide. It wouldn't be able to use the biscuit cutter because the biscuit cutter, the way it works is it works on a wee wheel. So there's a wheel at the end of the cutter, and that runs along the surface that you're going to be cutting, and it will cut into the material and give you a wee recess so that you can put your biscuit in. Now the reason why this won't work unless I change the faceplate again and opened it up is because it doesn't fit in with the bush guide. So us having two bases and the other one with the handle, remember as I said earlier, it means it's going to fit in. So instead of taking all this apart, I can leave it set up for the next time I'm going to be doing worktops, and I can use this base in order to do the biscuits. So let's get into it. Well guys, thanks to the M18 cordless router, these worktops are now complete, and a couple of days to do the compact laminate. They're definitely hard work, but this main video was all about the router. Fantastic tool, struggled not at all. to get through it, and this is a really hard surface to cut through. Has just as much power as your standard corded version. I'm really happy with the tool, so thanks very much Milwaukee for that. If you've enjoyed this video guys, please hit the subscribe button, and if you are following along with this journey and this build on Instagram or TikTok, there will be more videos on YouTube itself of the finished product. Still a bit of work to do in this kitchen, so the finished result will be up soon. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.